Welcome to livingpianos.com. Robert Estrin here with a crazy statement. Why my students force me to sell pianos? It sounds like they put a gun to my head. And how many of you are wondering what I'm talking about here? Well, a little bit of background first. I started teaching the piano when I was in high school, assisting my father with his teaching. He would give me his beginners. And throughout conservatory, it was my part-time job, was teaching the piano as well as accompanying. Now, after graduation, this is where it gets really interesting. I was making my living primarily teaching the piano, as well as doing accompanying and other things, and got into recording. But here was the thing. People would call me for lessons, and the first question I'd always ask is, do you have a piano? Half the time, people would say no. And I tell them honestly, you know, you're better off with a piano and no lessons, and lessons and no piano. I would not teach somebody who didn't have a piano to practice on. Even if they had one down the street, it's not going to work. You need to literally live with a piano if you expect to have successful lessons. So what happened was, I had my piano technician, I looked for an upright, an old upright that I could get, fairly inexpensively, and I would have my piano technician fix it up. So the next time somebody called for lessons, I asked that pivotal question, and they said, no, I don't have a piano. I said, well, I've got one. Oh, great. Well, come on over, try it out. They liked it. They bought it. I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. So then I was bold, and I got two old uprights. These are those monstrous uprights. And incidentally, I moved them myself, which we'll get into in a moment, because that's a whole other story. I could make another video about that. But anyway, now this time it was a little bit of a shocker, and I thought I had done something devastating. Why? Well, because it turned out, I had looked over these pianos, the soundboard, I made sure it was relatively in tune, I looked at the hammers, all this stuff, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't take out the kickboard. That's the board underneath. And coincidentally, both of these pianos had cracked bass bridges. I never even thought of looking at that before. It's like, what are the chances they both did? So my piano tuner said, well, that's not something I can help you with, and he mentioned another tuner I could call. So I was really down. We were struggling. We were just starting out. I didn't have like extra money to burn. I just put money into these pianos and all that and, move them. I called this other technician, and being short on funds, I made a deal with him. It's like, how about this? You do the work, and then I'll sell these pianos, and then we'll split the profit if there's any profit at the end. Otherwise, all the money would go to the tuner. Well, he fixed both bass bridges and refined the pianos, and they came out fine. And they both sold like that. And bing, a light bulb went off in my head. I thought, if this works, why not scale this? Literally. And that's exactly what we did. And we were living in an 1,100 square foot house with a walkout basement where I had my recording studio, and we ended up with 27 pianos in this house, 6 of them grands. So that's where it all started. It all was for the teaching. And what's great about it though is that I get to deal with people who love pianos. And it's a shared passion. Pianos have been on the decline for over 100 years, and reaching out and having this community of people like yourselves who are watching this video now, this is what makes it exciting for me to get up in the morning, to make these videos, to practice the piano, to work with my technicians, to write the articles, the videos, all of it. Keeping piano alive, avoiding pianos going to the landfill. Obviously, we can't restore every piano that's offered to us. We get offers literally every single day. Just yesterday, I had somebody offering me 35 pianos, believe it or not, a company that's no longer in the piano business. And they just have a slew of pianos, Steinways and Baldwins and Yamahas and Kawais. And, we take in as many as we can. It's a labor of love, but I get to share the love with people like you. And that's what makes it great, and rescuing these pianos. Now, I mentioned I got into moving pianos, and it's a funny thing, and the important thing is I got into not moving pianos at the right time, because I looked at many, many piano movers who had been doing it for decades, and almost all of them have back problems or knee problems, and I stopped moving. But what I used to do, and this is crazy when I think about this, my piano tuner had this trailer that he made, and he let me use it. And it was a trailer that you could take an upright piano and just put it up against this platform, and then strap it in, and then with a winch, the piano would go up and end up flat. And then I would get to the customer's house and I'd say, as long as there's somebody to help me unload, and I would just reverse it and go there and get it back up, and then we'd move it in. And these, by the way, these were mostly those massive, heavy, full-size uprights, a ton of those, because people didn't have a lot of money. They don't want to. I was selling pianos for $295 delivered, $395, and these were pianos that played well. You know, not like the level that we do now with our Steinways and Bechsteins and all that, but they were perfectly serviceable pianos for kids starting out, which is the kind of teaching I did at that time. So that gives you a little glimpse about pianos and a bit about my history with pianos for you, and how I ended up selling pianos. And what I love about it, first of all, I love pianos, and then I also get to meet and develop relationships with so many other people who love the piano, and it makes such a nice compliment to my performing, my videos, and my teaching. And once again, if you haven't subscribed, if you're here this long, you owe it to yourself to subscribe and ring the bell and all of that good stuff, so that, you know, the thumbs up, to reach more people who love the piano like we do, all right? Are we on the same page? If we are, let me know in the comments here at livingpianos.com and YouTube. Again, Robert Estrin. Thanks so much for joining me.